Sipho, a very good morning to you. Good to have you. Just give us, of course, a synopsis of what's been happening from where you are. I understand you're at the Harry Gwala district.
Indeed, we are inside the Ikopo water treatment plant. This plant is managed by Umngeni Water, one of the water utilities in Kwa-Zulu Natal, one of the biggest water utilities in the province. It supplies water across the province. But Ikopo is in southern Kwa-Zulu Natal in the Harry Gwala district. That is one of the most vulnerable areas which has been ravaged by a crippling drought for about 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. This part of the province has been identified as one of those who need special attention because people from rural areas in and around Ikopo, they don't have access to water. Now, with COVID-19, the message is simple, really. Keep a distance from others and wash your hands regularly. But the question for those rural people is, how are they going to do that if they don't have access to water? So earlier today, you had authorities coming in here to provide what they call interim measure of providing about 3,000 JoJo tanks and water tankers, because those will be distributed to various areas in and around the Harry Gwala district rather. So what is happening is there is an additional 4,000 JoJo tanks that will also be coming from the National Command Center to try and basically dish out those to local communities so that they can have access to water. Earlier on, I was able to interview the Cooperative MEC in Kwa-Zulu Natal, Sipho Hlomuka. I asked them about the timing to say, if you are able to provide these interim measures now with the COVID-19, what have you been waiting for? Because the area of Harry Gwala and some areas in Kwa-Zulu Natal, people have been complaining about water for years, and he said this is part of their water master plan in the province. They have had to redirect resources and the budget to all those districts that still struggle with water. So what was happening was that interim measure to say they will be providing local communities with JoJo tanks so that they can have water at least for their daily use, but also for hygiene purposes.
Sipho, it's amazing, as you point out, that we went from water master plan to full-on implementation of that master plan because there's now a crisis, and that's a valid question that you asked there. But talk to me about the makeup of the area, the Harry Gwala district municipality. Which areas does it cover? But importantly, what story can you tell us about the density of the populations there? Because we've seen how the measures to respond to COVID-19 have highlighted the differences in terms of social access to resources and also the ability to take some of these measures that we are all being encouraged to take.
It's a very vast and mainly rural areas, if I can put it like that, apart from Ikopo, which is the nearest town center, because when you're driving coming to Harry Gwala, you would pass high flats. We were seeing too many people queuing there to collect their money today, their pension money. I can tell you that in Ikopo alone, we were able to drive around there. You saw a lot of, or too many elderly people collecting their pension money. The issue of social distancing is a challenge, of course. It raises questions about the role of social development and having queue marshals to assist the elderly in terms of social distancing. But let me tell you that Harry Gwala comprises of areas such as Umzimkhulu. It's one of the poorest areas in Kwa-Zulu Natal where water shortages still remain very high, and you would also have areas like if you go towards the former Ingwe municipality, which is now known as Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma municipality, the NDZ there, who is the Minister for Cooperative Governance. So the area is mainly about rural areas, and you've got some farms, because this water treatment plant that we are at, perhaps let me ask my colleague Terence Stone just to give you a shot of the area here, this water treatment plant behind me. This supplies the Harry Gwala district municipality, and it also supplies the only town here in Ikopo. So this water treatment plant provides water to Ikopo town, and the rural areas are left to fend for themselves, because the local municipality, which is the Harry Gwala district, will have then to supply water to rural communities because Ikopo town is covered. But the bulk of this area is mainly rural areas, and that's where the issue and the challenge of water is very high.
Yeah, Sipho Hlomuka, I mean, for the past couple of days, we've also been putting a spotlight on health care, sectors and facilities. For the longest time, healthcare practitioners have said they do not have enough resources to continue the work they're doing, particularly in these, rural areas, in the townships, in the farms, as well as around the country, actually. I mean, so when we talk about water shortages, at this point, do we know if that also affects clinics, hospitals, perhaps even surgeries that have to cater to the health needs of the communities?
Let me be honest and tell you that today I haven't had such complaints, but in the past there have been concerns like those ones, because some people were telling us before that even though there are police stations around the area, most of them struggle with water and the issue of clinics and hospitals. Let me make an example that about few months ago, if I'm not mistaken, I covered a story about Harding Township. Harding is not really far from Ekopo, where we are, and then we visited the police station. People were telling us that there is no water there, and we also visited the local hospital. Some people were telling us that they are struggling with water inside that hospital and the local clinic. So the issue of water challenges in this district has affected police stations, clinics and hospitals, even though there will be provisions and interim measures made to save these hospitals, clinics and police stations, but they are also affected.
Live for us in Ikopo in Kwa-Zulu Natal, that's ENCA's Sipho Hlomuka with that update, looking into the situation around water in that area.